Hey guys, welcome to all new Couchy Zone, and today we are going to go dinosaur riding.
We're going to be talking about hot stuff.
Hot stuff?
Yeah.
Hot stuff?
Yeah.
Hot stuff reminds me of looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Looking for some hot stuff, baby,
Okay,
tonight.
stay tuned. We'll be right
Looking for
back.
some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Yeah.
DJ, we're live. DJ, we're live.
Hey!
Hi.
Sorry, I
Hi.
kinda got carried in the moment.
Yeah.
Hi.
You got carried away. And I suffered.
You didn't suffer. That wasn't that bad. That was at least in the original tune.
Oh yeah, it was.
You guys there watching today, you can actually go check. It's in the right key.
Yeah, this would be a
Sort of.
torment if it would be me singing that one. Oh,
Yes.
it would. It
Don't
would be
ever
torture.
do that.
No.
Don't ever
I'll
do
save every single one of you from that. I promise.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I also thank you by not doing that to me. Thank you very much.
So, DJ, what are we going to talk about? Games?
And some hot stuff. Looking for... no. I won't,
Not
I
again,
won't
not
start
again,
this
not again, not again. So let's start with games with some mold.
Okay. As
Can I
usual,
start?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Okay.
Looking for... No, you can.
Nah. Okay, I'm going to talk about something different tonight, and not just a game with mold, but an iconic game with mold. And let's go back to the Super Nintendo and to a spectacular game, and I mean spectacular game, called Super
Okay.
Mario Land. Tricked
Okay.
you! It's not Super Mario Land, Super Mario World, you bastard!
I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I was about to go on top of you and say, my friend.
Yeah, you were. I had
But
this
we
track
already
laid out
know
for you,
that-
nice and easy. See?
We already know exactly what is one of the best Super Mario games ever.
Oh, it
but
is.
Okay, go
Oh,
on,
it is.
go on.
Oh,
Move
it is.
along.
It's awesome. Well, this
Move
game
along.
actually came out in 1990 in Japan. We only got to see it in 1992 in Europe. And this game was just the next step after Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES. They just took this way ahead and picked up everything they did before and just greatly evolved it. The game goes into the same story as every other Mario game. You're going to rescue Peach, this time in the dinosaur world. You actually start the story with Mario and Luigi waking up and not knowing where the princess is, and finding a giant egg in the forest. And then Yoshi comes out. Yoshi finally makes an appearance in the Mario world, and he says his dinosaur buddies were trapped in eggs by Koopa, and you just go out to save the princess and Yoshi's friends. So, in this game you have the complete map showing. You don't have specific areas. You have, and I mean a load of areas in this game to explore. A huge amount of different scenarios, and a great, an amazing, and I mean an amazing soundtrack. And this soundtrack has something very peculiar. In each level you are able to use Yoshi and ride Yoshi. The tune actually changes to a Yoshified version of the level's tune. It's awesome. And you could do something cool in this game. You could grab a cape and just go floating around like Superman in the game. And you had a spinning attack where you jumped spinning and you could kill harder enemies with one strike, or just break blocks on the floor that you couldn't previously. But this game is massive and it has so many secrets, and I mean so many secrets you can explore. It's just so awesome. And if you haven't played this one, I mean, you must play this one. Whoever hasn't played this version of Mario, you should. This is absolutely fantastic. I have two major Mario games I love. It's Mario 64 and Super Mario World. They're just amazing.
Mario
amazing.
64, yes, definitely. I did
Yeah.
play a lot of Mario 64, especially on the early days of N64 emulation.
Yeah,
And when I'm talking about the early days of this, I recall correctly of playing it on my AMD Athlon XP processor that I had at the time. And this was probably the late 90s or probably the early 2000s. I do remember playing it back then. I didn't have an N64, but
Me neither at the time. The first time I
but
played Mario 64 was also on the PC. And I can tell you exactly the machine I was using.
But I have to tell you that on the Mario game, Super Mario Land was one of my favorites because of the Game Boy. I had a Game Boy, so that's what I played the most there.
It was so
and
cool.
I can tell you, man, it was so great to play on that little thing, and it was so nice. Even a Super Mario game, that I really loved it, and I didn't really feel the need, maybe until the Nintendo 64, to grab another Mario
3D.
game and just extensively playing it.
I'm not sure if you ever played the Super NES version, the Super Mario World, but just do. And what I was telling you, the first time I played Mario 64 was on a Pentium 3 with a Riva TNT2 Ultra on Project 64. It was so cool. I had to get an N64 after this.
I think I probably played it not on my Athlon XP. Now that you're talking about the time period, it might have been with my first generation Pentium 120 that I had. Or maybe
no,
not.
It must have been
I
later.
don't really know.
I don't think that.
It must have
I had
been
a
later.
166
I
and
think
it couldn't run Project 64. I bought the new Pentium 3 at the time. I was so pleased.
So I'm probably making a mistake. Because after that...
But you played a great Mario game here, right?
I did. I did. Yes. I did.
This.
It's a great...
Whoever hasn't used one of these, just grab one.
I mean, it's a
Tetris.
mess to play it, Tetris I also had. I mean, it was actually the game that came with on the package of the Game Boy. There was the new pack.
That's what made it sell so much.
I think that it was such a simple game, but and people had it in other platforms like those brick games and stuff like that cost like a couple of dollars, euros, whatever.
So, but DJ, bring us another game.
Yeah, another game. So I'm going to talk about the game that I really played a lot. I really had a lot of fun with it actually. But regardless of that, I have to say that later on I came to appreciate it and find out that maybe it wasn't that great. But let's cut to the introduction immediately. So I'm going to talk about Hi-Octane from 1995, and this was for MS-DOS, and this was developed by Bullfrog and published by Electronic Arts. So, I wish there was a better way to tell you this, my friend, but the game sucked balls. That's what it is.
You're being so nice.
But here comes the plot twist. I really loved it, and let's talk about a bit about it so you guys can understand. Hi-Octane was a racing game that was full of wide and open tracks that gave us the feel of extreme speed and constant adrenaline. This is such a badass game that you load it, you get an intro with a burning car, then two other cars fly over, and boom, you're on the screen to enter your name and just starts racing. I mean, who needs storylines in racing games anyways, right? So, and I like that thing straight to the point. However, that straight to action does come at a cost, and we'll talk about it shortly. So, Hi-Octane lets us race in a distant future where cars can levitate and be equipped with weapons, shields, and whatever other tools of carnage are available. And thus, the PlayStation and Saturn versions had a small addition to their title that wasn't on the PC box that says "The Track Fights Back." I don't know why the track fights back. I mean, I would say it's the cars that fight back, but we'll get onto it. So 6 vehicle types and 6 tracks to choose from that later became 9 with an add-on pack released by Bullfrog that was also included. That also included several new game modes. Talking about game modes, you had Championship mode, where we'd race along all the tracks of the game, Deathmatch, and Hot Seat, amongst others, where some of them were multiplayer with the usual split-screen mode. Objective was obviously to win the race, but with the added bonus that if you could just wreck your opponents in the process, it was all the better. So it was that was the point. Remember me saying, why it sucked balls? So, well, I had a lot of fun with it, but the actual truth is that Hi-Octane is literally a game that was written on top of the knee and released to the public. if it wasn't enough that it was terrible when compared to similar games, you know, for example, Wipeout, Peter Molyneux actually said that EA was putting a lot of pressure on Bullfrog to release Dungeon Keeper back then, and in order not to delay it, he simply put up a game in 2 months. So Hi-Octane is a game developed in 2 months, so if you don't believe it. In fact, the only way they could actually do it was to use the engine of another game and simply put new textures on top of it. So can you actually figure out which game they used Bullfrog to be the base of this game?
Magic Carpet?
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to Magic Carpet with wheels, or, you know, something like that. But, you know, it's just like that. Remember how we talked about how the Krustibat game was just a repurpose of the goblins from Cocktail Vision, right? Yeah. So this is exactly the same thing. They grabbed the same engine and they just put new textures on top of it and made a racing game. That's exactly what they did. Either way, the PC version, despite all its shortcomings, it was still very fun and was able to provide people like me that didn't have a console and didn't know that Wipeout was actually released to the PC, because I loved Wipeout and I only came to know about this a few years later. It provides like a similar experience, you know, with the addition of blowing stuff up, which is always fun, right? So the console versions, you know, the console versions, unfortunately, well, if it was already a half-baked game on the PC, the ports for Saturn and PlayStation were just shameful. They had terrible graphics, the control schemes were horrible. Can you imagine that they didn't even bother to translate the control scheme, and in order to accelerate in a console, you usually have one of the buttons, the A, the B, or C, or whatever the console is. But no, they left the original type of playing on the PC, which is the up arrow. So imagine you having to press on the D-pad on the up arrow to go forward all the time. The game controls were really horrible, and the Saturn suffered a lot of latency issues. The game didn't really run properly on the hardware. It was just a dumbed down version of the original game for the PC, and unfortunately, it saddens me to say that despite that I had fun with it, it's clearly a big failure from Bullfrog at that time, especially after, you know, bringing us stuff like Syndicate and so many other good games from Bullfrog. It's just cool. Nah, man, it's just sad. So, what are you bringing us now, Blade?
Well, I'm on the iconic games, so I'm going to talk about another. And since you were talking about the Saturn, I'm going to the Saturn directly. Okay? And let's go to 1994, to a game I bet everyone knows, at least from the arcades, but I played it the most on the Saturn at home. A game called Virtua Cop. A light gun game. A very, very fun light gun game. A light gun
game that I actually never played on the console at home. I always played this on the arcades. And this one I remember very clearly of playing.
Well, the Saturn version at least had a training area. That was cool.
Okay.
Now, fine. The game was cool, but they should have added more elements to the console version. This still doesn't have much of a story. You had a gun smuggling ring that was being investigated. The main investigator was killed. Then you find out about what's happening, and you just go and solve the problem, and you have the same levels as you had in the arcade. It's just shooting, avoid getting shot, and avoid shooting innocents. I still remember the innocents showing up with their arms up and saying, "Don't shoot me!" and just staying there, waiting a bit, see if you shot them, and then going away. No, but this game was really addictive. It was really fun. And on the Saturn, you could do something very challenging, that was playing with the remote.
With the remote?
Yeah, with the controller. With the remote.
With the remote. Jesus,
the controller.
With the gamepad.
Well, yeah, the gamepad, the controller, whatever you want to call it.
No,
and this was challenging. I mean, it was.
There was some shooters. I mean, I remember, for example, the Terminator shooter for the NES, or the SNES, it's one of them. I mean, that was something that you could do on the arcades with the gun. It actually had a mounted gun, and you could shoot it. But then when you would play at home with a controller, that was really weird. It was not the same thing.
Now you mentioned the SNES and shooters. I remember they had something like a bazooka or whatever.
Yeah,
huge light gun. It was the
did.
Super Scope or whatever. I remember it was huge. It looked like a bazooka.
I saw the commercials of that.
I never had one, seriously. But
remember trying to ask my parents for one. But anyways, yeah, Virtua Cop, played it a lot on the arcades.
So cool. And I mean,
such a great game. Cool. And it had a lot of stuff that you know, it really reminds me of It was a game that actually I could have some fun for a while. It wasn't such a tough game that you would lose like in the first 2 or 3 levels.
The first level was actually easy.
Yeah.
You could actually pick them and start in the hardest one and just go to the easiest ones. But the first one was actually easy.
It was the one that you had a metal plate on the floor to step to hide yourself, right? It was like that.
I can't recall that, but it was in the arcade.
The arcade cabinet, I think that you could
not
hide.
sure if that was the one.
Maybe if that wasn't Virtua Cop, was something else. But I remember a shooting game just like that.
Maybe.
Maybe
I'm confusing it.
It's possible, but
yeah, but there was one that we could do that.
Yeah, indeed you could. Great game. We'll have to remind that one, obviously a classic. But I think it's time for us to go to our air freshener moment, and today bringing something really, really fresh while being super hot. I already told it. If you don't know what I'm going to talk about, just let's go get right onto it. So I'm going to talk about Super Hot from 2016, and this was developed and published by the Super Hot team. Look, I know I might not be bringing any news with this game, but I want to believe that this one might not have the indie status that we usually look for to present here. But if there's only one person that hasn't played this, I would be already very happy to bring this to you, because this one person needs to play Super Hot.
Me.
And Blade, did you play Super Hot?
No. I've actually seen this game thousands of times. I have it on my list of games to play, and I haven't had a chance
This
yet.
was one thing that I'm going to straightly admit here. I downloaded this game illegally, and then I liked it so much that I ended up buying the first one and the second one. I actually have those. I don't have the VR version, but let me just talk a little bit about this, because this game is absolutely amazing. So the game is like Tron meets Matrix. So you haven't seen Tron, so you won't understand the reference. But so we start in our office working in our computer when we receive a message of a friend asking us to play a game. He sends us a file, we download it, we crack it, and then we start playing it. Initially, the game is just like a first-person shooter, but with the condition that time only moves forward when you move, remaining in very slow motion when you stand still. So after playing the game, it just glitches and throws you out. You start receiving messages from the system, which apparently are the game developers that were watching your gameplay, and start asking you to stop playing the game and just leave, because you have no idea what you're getting into. But of course, we're not going to do that, and we're going to continue playing. So the rebel spirit of the Matrix of going against the machines is explained, but what about Tron? Well, the surprise of the plot is that the player soon finds out that he's actually playing a digitized version of himself inside of computer simulation. So I already spoiled here too much. I'm not going to tell a lot about the game on the story, because it's really, really interesting. Despite that being such a simple game in its essence, it does have a lot of back-end story about it, and it does continue on the second game, which I'll also talk a little bit about it. So this is, every level is procedural generated, so don't expect the objects and enemies to be exactly in the same place every time. The idea is pick whatever object you have in front of you, or even weapons, and kill enemies in that level. Use bottles or an ashtray to stun an enemy, and then either punch them or pick up a weapon to finish them. Each and every level gets more and more challenging, with you having to carefully plan every step to slow and accelerate time to ensure you don't get caught in the crossfire. Remember, one shot kills them, but it also kills you as well. So the game is just as a fantastic concept, that the thing is, time only moves or only goes to normal speed when you actually move. This is what I was trying to say here. So if you stand still, time will kind of slow down. It will not stop completely, which gives you, like, it gives you the carefully planning of or assessment of the situation, so that you can actually move forward. It's an excellent concept of Polish production, and very good job to the Polish developers. We've been seeing a lot of them really striving up in the market. I mean, I'm not talking about only CD Projekt Red, talking about Blooper Team and stuff like that. So really good. These guys are also amazing, and this game is actually very good, and you need to try it out. The game is available on every single platform, literally, even in the Nintendo Switch. The original version of 2016 is available at 60% off on Steam right now, and it costs around €2.50. but you can also actually buy the bundle with the new release of 2020, which is the new version or the new installment of the game, which is called Super Hot Mind Control Elite for €5 the whole pack. So it's totally worth it. As I said, I have both of them, and I purchased actually the second one at launch. And for those rich people with VR headsets, there's also a specific version for VR called Super Hot VR, which is an incredibly amazing game, and it's one of them that I really want to try as soon as I have the money to buy a VR headset.
I need to get this one up the list very fast.
Guys, very good. You need to have this game. The game is absolutely amazing, and I mean, I played it by mistake. I found it on a forum with, torrents and stuff like that. I hope that the cops don't come after me because of my saying this. I'm sorry, guys. It happened. But I did buy them. I did buy them, and I have both of them. I did redeem myself. It was a very good game.
We need to start recording the next videos with you like this.
Yeah,
just saying.
Well, you also have to remember that game returns on digital platforms were not as accessible as they are right now. Right now, people can actually do that. They buy it, they see if they like, and then they return it. Well, at least in most European countries, it is like this. I don't know about if anyone is watching us. Yeah, I mean it's the law, it's European law, but I don't know if anyone is actually watching this outside of Europe. But that's the good thing we have now. But even back then, we didn't have that chance. Or at least I don't remember in 2016 of having that chance of returning games like that. But anyways, great game, and I think we have to close down for today. No, Blade?
Oh yeah, it's time.
Unfortunately, all is well when it ends well, but as all good things come to an end, so today's Couch episode will once again have to.
I was really inspired. I was going to start singing "Time to Say Goodbye," but I won't.
Time to say goodbye? No.
Yeah.
But we can say all by myself.
You're not alone right now.
But people will be. They will be without us.
Like Yoda said, "You will be. You will be."
No. Without us, you will be.
Oh yeah, backwards. Oh yeah.
All right.
Very
guys, thank you very much for being with us once again. You know what to do. Leave a like if you like, leave a dislike if you didn't like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends if you like this, old school memorabilia that we bring up here. It's always a pleasure to bring it to you, to your friends, your family, and your pets as well if they like to watch stuff like this.
Games with mold.
Exactly. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see each other next week. Game on.
See everyone next week, and game on. Have fun.